Welcome to the Higher Self Podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to help you unravel anything keeping you from a life of true abundance, joy, and happiness, which is your birthright. Each week, we'll bring in different guests specifically tailored to help you on your journey to discovering your higher self. Whether it's spirituality, business, finances, health, or relationships, there are no topics that are off limits. So get ready and enjoy this week's episode on the higher self. There's a child inside of you that wants to live in joy, happiness, abundance, prosperity, love. And today's episode is all about helping you to reconnect with that child. How do you like that?
I love it.
That just flowed. I think that's what this episode is going to be about. Welcome to the Higher Self. This week, I have my new friend, Morgan Fava.
Yes. Hi.
Tell me about Fava. Where's that come from, by the way?
It's Sicilian.
Sicilian?
Yeah. So my dad's father and his parents came over through Ellis Island, and
Really?
it was shortened. Yeah, it was a lot longer of a last name, but
Okay.
yeah.
What was the...
I don't know. We've never fully figured it out. Yeah.
You should.
I know. I should.
Yeah, that's going to be big.
I've been working on my maternal line. Paternal line is next. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm heading to the Dominican Republic to work on that side right now as well. Beautiful. I feel like we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's get right into
let's
it.
get into it.
So I was already asking you, tell me about yourself. Just give me like the basics.
So I am a coach. I work with clients in the akashic records, working with inner child and parent wounds, because that has been my story. And I think that always points us in our direction. So I'm the oldest of 5 kids.
Okay.
Grew up in a religious background in many different ways.
Which religions?
So my grandmother on my maternal side was Southern Baptist. My dad grew up Jehovah's Witness. And then when I was
a deadly combination.
a kid, we moved to Utah and lived in a very
Mormon?
small Mormon community. So
Right.
lots of that in my field.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom left when I was 11, and my siblings are all much younger than me. And so all of my journey and process has led me to doing this work. I have a beautiful partner that I met at an ayahuasca retreat.
Okay.
She's does similar work, and yeah, it's been a beautiful journey to grow together in
Beautiful.
the last 3 years with her.
Beautiful.
Partnership is the deepest shadow work.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
I love to travel. I love to learn. And something I'm really deeply walking into right now is becoming a death doula and helping people to not be afraid of that transition.
That's right. I love that. I love that. So I have a bunch of questions for you,
Yeah.
and I'm already feeling like, one of the reasons why I'm so glad I decided to do this show is because I feel like people, when they hear their story in our story, it allows them to feel, number one, like, I'm not weird.
Yeah.
I'm normal. Number 2, all of the trauma that I have experienced in my lifetime, other people have experienced it as well. And number 3, if I choose to, I get to heal from that trauma. And that's the most powerful thing, because it shifts us from the victim, right?
Mhm.
Like, why did my mom leave? Why did my dad leave?
Yeah.
Why was I poor? Why did I grow up in the ghetto? Whatever the case may be, to hang on a second. Like, there's a gift in all of that trauma if I choose to allow myself to see it.
Yeah.
And so I want to start with, you're 11 years old and mom leaves.
Yeah.
I know what it's like for a dad to leave, but for a mom to leave, like, when I hear that, like, it breaks my heart, because you kind of expect it from a guy.
Right.
A
Right.
guy is like a guy.
Yeah.
Right. But for a mom, that must have, and I'm feeling it as we're talking about it, getting emotional just as we're speaking about it. What was that like for you?
It was like something I feel like I knew I came into this life to experience. Even prior to, the years leading up to 11, I was always nurturing. I learned how to cook. I was always looking at what was going on in the house and the dynamic of like the female and the mother. And when she left, I was at a point even at 11 where it was like, finally, because of the toxicity within my parents. And since then, I have had a medicine journey experience where I got to go back in that moment with that 11-year-old and really see where she knew that at that moment she had to grow up and things would be different. And so a lot of my late 20s was spent working with her and letting her be a child and letting her play and letting her be what she didn't get to be. And the biggest piece that I've struggled with or has been a part of my experience from that has been the abandonment, like you're saying, right? Like it maybe makes sense if a father leaves, but like the mother who's the one who, physically brings you into this. And then, I have a sister and 3 brothers, and they were all in diapers. Not my sister, my brothers when she left.
Mm.
So my youngest brother doesn't even have like any memory of mother. And he really walks that wounding of that. And I always question, like, how could you do that, right? How could you birth 5 beautiful children? And my siblings are amazing. And then not have a relationship with any of them and choose drugs and alcohol and, And that abandonment piece has followed me in everything, relationships. It shows up in my business still, right? Rejection. But what I have learned the most is that I chose that. And a big aha moment for me was we chose our parents, right? We choose our siblings. And our parents actually gave us everything that we needed. And
you know what? Like, I love you so much. I swear, like, I've interviewed so many people, and it's like, I feel your, I feel your love.
Yeah.
I feel your sweetness. I feel you. And that's just a testament to the work that you've had to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I had to do it as well.
Yeah.
And I resonate so much with you in that when I was 13, I was the oldest. I became literally the dad.
Right.
Right. Tell me this. I know how it showed up for me. How did it show up, that wounding for you prior to the plant medicine journey?
There was a lot of just lack of self-worthiness, numbing out, toxic relationships, toxic environments. I never believed I was worthy. And a big piece of it too was, my mom placing this responsibility on me of being the thing to save her in this life, being the first kid, right? And so I carried that responsibility. And in her struggle, I felt like I was always failing because I hadn't saved the one thing that I came here to do, right? What I believed I came here to do. And so it was like this constant battle of self-rejection, self-abandonment. And that's the piece that I'm so grateful for now is, of course, I chose a mother who abandoned me so that in this lifetime, I would choose not to abandon myself.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Guys, oh my gosh. Like when you get that, when you get to the space where you can accept your life and your journey for what it is and not look at it from the eyes of victimhood, but look at it from the eyes of, hang on a second, I'm the creator.
Exactly.
And in this lifetime, I created this so that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Everybody's so that is different. But so that, like, my God, how beautiful and how profound that is. And, I want to ask you this question. I know for myself, I would not have ever been able to get that message. It's one thing to hear it here, but it's another thing to experience it here.
Yeah.
For me, it was plant medicine.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be who I am today without ayahuasca.
Same. Yeah. And because of, my religious background, I was of the mind of drugs are bad.
Oh,
I
ayahuasca was the devil.
Student. Yeah.
Yes.
My Nana, when I even went to my ayahuasca retreat, she always loved me and supported me, but in the background with family, she thought I was joining this cult and doing, all these things. And so, I found psychedelics actually through a breakup. I was really just wanting to feel more.
Yeah.
I'd shut myself off a lot and from all the experiences, and I had just started calling and I didn't even know what it was. And it was just in my field. And I was traveling a lot at the time. I was planning to go to Italy to connect to my lineage for my birthday. And Spirit was like, no, you're going to do this thing. And I had done a little bit of, mushrooms and things like that prior. And so I was like, okay, I'm all in. And I found a space and I went for 3 weeks and I just surrendered.
You did it.
And I did it. And yeah, it was the thing that in that I got to sit for a couple ceremonies across from my mother and see her demons and the things attached to her and the lack of opportunity that she had in her field, right? Even her cries for help to her parents. And, there's generational things and reasons why that she wasn't able to get there herself. And so I'm like, okay, I'm the one to break these cycles.
That's right.
For my siblings, I have 3 beautiful nieces, and I'm like, I don't want them to have to do this work. Obviously, they'll have their own things, but yeah, it changed everything for me.
Yeah. You're literally the one.
Yeah.
Like I was the one, for myself, something else that you resonated was when you are able to see your parents' demons, then you're able to see them for the child that was never loved.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that helps you to forgive them.
So much. Yeah. And it was such a journey from that point. I actually didn't have communication with my mom for about 12 years at all.
Mm.
And then my Nana, who I was so dear to, her mother passed. And that brought her back into my life. And it just brought up new layers, right? It's like I've done all this work, and that was a big pivot for me of, am I ready for this? And I actually had a breakdown in a grocery store with my partner because I was like, what kind of person am I to say that I've done all this work to heal, that I can't just go and sit in a room with this person and forgive her?
It's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I teach this to others. I help others. Who am I to then just keep this, distance and not let her back in? But this time it's on my terms, and there's boundaries and there's rules. And it's been challenging yet beautiful. And it's brought up new layers for my siblings that I've got to walk them through with it.
That takes courage.
Yeah. It was a big day.
The most courageous thing that you can do.
Yeah.
I remember when it started in my journey, I was on stage and I was hosting an event, and I always had this like tug in me that told me I was here, in this journey to help people self-actualize and help people to discover themselves.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, I got to go through it, And so as a result, like I've had to go head to head with like my deepest, darkest shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember I was on stage and life was great, making money, everything's good. I've done ayahuasca, right? I've done some plant medicine. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
Everything is good. I am like awakened now. I am like the conscious speaker now, right? And all of a sudden I just heard, you're never going to fully be the man you're intended to be or help them be who they're intended to be unless you forgive your father. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That's too hard.
Yeah.
Because I have every right. I have every right to be mad at him. I have every right to not love him. I have every right to never see him again, But once it hits, you have a decision to make.
Yeah.
It's either you keep that wall up, right? Or you do what I feel very few people have the courage to do, and you go head to head and you cry, you do whatever you have to do, but you got to get it out.
Yeah.
Because it's stopping you from becoming the highest version of yourself.
Absolutely.
Did you experience the same?
Yeah, it was a big thing. And it was, in my Nana's death and the amount of grief that I was walking through, and also knowing that she probably has a hand in this on the other side of things.
Sure.
But it brought up a lot. There were parts that I wasn't ready to face. There was parts of, I was then the mother of my siblings who at 18, when they were still young, I left and I went to college. And so some of my brothers have abandonment wounds from me. But I was a child, right, making these decisions. And so it's like, here I am now navigating, cleaning that up with them and taking responsibility for what I may have caused them when I didn't know better. And also doing that work to heal that within myself and my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's been 2 years now that she's been back in my life in a small capacity. And I thought I had done all this work, right? I've done all these things, and I didn't realize how much it was still affecting me. And so, even the first time I cut her out of my life, as soon as I did, I had suffered chronic migraines for most of my life. Never had one after that. Lost 10 pounds, did nothing different. But it's like what we hold on to in our physical body.
For sure.
That is connected to the emotional pain. And so I started to have some pain in my knee as soon as she came back in my life, right? There's these things that I started to realize, and it's like, okay. So, I actually had to kind of have a grieving process of her as my mother. And now it's seeing her as this person who's in my life, and I get to maybe help from a different perspective, but not that mother-daughter relationship.
How did you do that? And I ask you why, because I feel like, for many people that are listening, we provide this journey. I do what I do, you do what you do. I have an event called Awaken. And I know that for a lot of people, they're going to have a rough time wrapping their brain around like using plant medicine.
Yeah.
So I get that. I understand that, right? Because I know that is like, it's a big step. I understand that. So I created Awaken, and I designed it in a way to be like 3 days where you get to have like 3 medicine journeys without the medicine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I bring this up because if they're out there listening, like I want to give them like actual steps. Like for me, for example, and this is hard, but for me, I started the process of seeing my dad for the wounded little boy that never had an opportunity to know his father.
Yep.
Like I'm a public speaker, right? I have a way with my words. My dad stutters massively. So I get goosebumps. It breaks my heart who he could have become.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He comes from a politician's background. He comes from, professional people. My dad doesn't do that well with money. He's the exact opposite of me. The exact opposite of me. And if you're listening, I want you to pay attention to this because it really will give you love, grace, and understanding for your parents. I was able to look at him for the wounded boy that he was, whose father not only didn't abandon him, just literally didn't claim him as his father. Yeah. So he never knew that side. What could he have become, right? If he would have known that side. But most importantly, if he didn't, here's the twist. Would I be who I am?
Right.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so then I get to see it all as perfect. I get to see it all on one side. It's like I get to choose and I get to say, damn it, I wish my dad would have been around. I guess I wish I wouldn't be wired the way that I'm wired. I wish I wouldn't be so driven. I wish everything was different. But yet, I don't. Because it's perfect.
It's so perfect.
It's so perfect.
It's
right?
so divine. There's so many synchronicities. And, I think about that a lot, right? It's like you can't help but go there. But I know that I chose all this for a reason. There was a big part of my soul that needed to stop abandoning itself. And had I not had those perfect circumstances to learn that and experience that, I'd probably be coming back here again in a different
That's right.
way,
so work
right?
on it again.
Doing it the same. So yeah, I'm really, really grateful for that. And, speaking into without using plant medicine, that has been a big part of it. Is I see everyone as their wounded inner child. Sure. It's like you can't help but see people from that point of view when you're doing that work. And the akashic records have been a big tool for that for me, because I can go in and do timeline healing with my inner child part, and I can sit with her and I can journal and I can ask what she needed that she didn't get. And I can also pull in the energetics of, my maternal line and my healed ancestors from that line. And, how do we do this together? What is it that I need to learn from this still? Or what am I moving through? And on the other side of it, a big piece that I'm really learning is part of my medicine too, is that my dad is the essence of play, and that it doesn't have to be hard. Like, we can do so much healing in play and joy and laughter. And as a kid, I remember he used to annoy me because I'm like, can you just be serious for once, And now as an adult, to see him and his joy and his play always, and to always be reminded of that, in the times where I was in burnout and overworking and thinking I was, moving towards this big goal, he'd call me every Sunday and he's like, did you live this week?
Wow.
And it was just, it's just play. And so I love to bring play into the work that I do.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so two things here.
Mm-hmm.
I wanna not forget, I wanna give them three things. Number one, I wanna give them an actual step.
Yeah.
Right. Number two, I wanna talk about the other side. No, this is new age stuff. This is new age stuff. This is the devil.
Yeah.
There we go. And then number three, akashic records.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to do that stuff because then we're gonna go to hell.
Totally.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do that right now. So number one, for myself, I had to make the conscious choice to, in my relationship with my father, set up very healthy boundaries and expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what happened. I went to New York and I said, I was literally there and I went just to see him because I'm like, all right, I'm ready to heal this thing. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And I show up and I'm going to go, okay, I'll take the first step. Right. And so I call him and I go, hey, Bobby, I'm in New York. Would you like to have some lunch? Straight up, this is what he said. No. That's okay. Thank you. And I even feel it in my face still, right? You must have seen it. That hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt, but I started to realize, wait a minute. It hurt because of my expectation of who this idea of father should be, right? How could he possibly know how to be a father if he didn't have one in his life himself?
Yeah.
And then when I was able to go there, then I had a choice and say, you know what, from now on, I get to choose how I respond with the way he knows how to be a father. And it almost became kind of not funny, but it was you would react that way because of, and that's okay. I still love you.
Yeah.
And I get to choose to love you.
Yeah.
So that was for me what I did. What did you do?
So I've had to just really keep the relationship as simple as possible. I don't share much. I keep very strong boundaries, especially because my siblings are very detached and they don't want, anything. And, in the last couple of months, there was a moment, same thing, expectation, right? It's I'm giving her support. I have her set up on microdosing. I'm giving her resources in her area, right?
We are so alike.
And she has a big way of manipulating. And I know this and I'm aware. And I think sometimes the more awake and aware we are, we can, lose sight of what we know deep down is the truth and how her energetics work. And so there was a moment where I was pulled right back into capital trauma with, capital, T trauma. She was going in a spiral. It brought me back to 10, 11 years old. And I was like, okay, she's not ever going to change.
No.
So acceptance has been my step. This is who she is. This is her life. This is her walk with the divine that she's choosing. And I can love and accept her for that. And it's just it's a daily choice though. Some days it's really hard to choose that. Some days I wake up angry, right? That inner teenager who's I just wish my mom was there to tell me about boys or whatever the story might be. And I have to just go inward, breathe, and remind myself that she is who she is. And I am who I am because of her.
Yeah.
And I love and accept her for that.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That was medicine for me. And it was medicine for me because that's the same in all relationships. even, and there's even people who have done the medicine,
Mm-hmm.
who have sat with the medicine, yet there's a part of them that they still won't face. There's an unforgiveness in them, And so it's very interesting because as you say that, there's a relationship in my life where as much as I try, as much as I try to bring joy and life and light and whatever the case may be, an individual just always finds a way to make a negative.
Yeah.
And not with anybody else, by the way, just with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it saps me. It breaks my heart, but it also saps me of my energy and my life force.
Yeah.
This literally just is happening right now. And I think I just have to realize, like, I don't know if they're ever going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to be okay with that. And as a result of that, I need to put up healthy boundaries to not allow myself to get caught up in the, there's times I don't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's bad.
It breaks you down.
It breaks you down energetically.
Absolutely.
And then physically.
Mm-hmm.
And then it affects your whole life.
Everything.
Absolutely. So if you're listening, like, you get to choose.
Yeah. And the thing I've come to with that in any relationship, and it's back to that, right? I'm not going to abandon myself, is I can love this person, but I love me more.
Yes. Say that again.
I can love this person, but I love me more. And I'm always going to choose me because it's the most loving thing for everyone.
That's it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love you so much, by the way. I'm like so connected.
Oh,
with
I
you
know.
right now.
I love this.
You're the best. Like, it's just the energy feels so good. So good. Number 2. What was number 2? Oh, the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you said, I know it was my Nana on the other side pushing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started to realize, like, when my mom transitioned, that's when everything started changing for me. Mm-hmm. And I can now see her. I love you, Mom, so much. But I can see, I can see her on the other side because her death is what caused my transformation.
Yeah.
It's when I decided to like leave my marriage, is when I decided to sit with plant medicine. It's what really woke me up.
Yeah.
And so as you said that, I literally, because she was always so wonderful to my father. She never spoke badly about him, And she always tried to get us to connect with him, and we wouldn't. And I believe now with all my heart that voice that I heard was her.
Absolutely.
100%, absolutely. Because she is the mother, and the mother is the medicine. It's all one. And so, for so many people, they have this difficult time understanding that there is another side, that we can communicate with people on the other side, and that it's not like a bad or evil thing to talk about.
Right.
It literally is a cheat code in life.
Yeah.
Because you have all your ancestors that want to help you live a better life and to heal. And yet society, religion, so forth and so on, the system programs you to believe like this is all bad. Mm-hmm. So when I say the other side and when I say connecting to your ancestors, what comes up for you?
So because of my background, my Nana specifically, right? Church and, her beliefs, I was always in this fear of like spirits and the other side and like, bad, wrong, whatever it might be. When she passed in July of 2020, I, in October, was working with my client. We're on Zoom together. She's a medium, but I never had any desire to, explore that because I was still battling my beliefs.
Right.
And she's like, I know I'm paying you for this session, but your Nana is here and she's not going anywhere. She really wants to connect to you. And I was so hesitant. And I was like, okay. And she came through, and the way that the words came out of my client's mouth,
it had to be.
I had no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
And there was a vision that she saw of these like water washing on the beach and this jewelry. And I was like, instantly, the one thing I got from my Nana was this sapphire necklace. And the only time I've worn it was not this one, sorry, but on my wedding day after she passed, standing in water on a rocky beach.
No.
And I was
you can't make this
right.
Stuff up.
Like there was no doubt in my mind at that point that it was her. Yeah. And she was a powerful woman in her earthly presence. but she was in her religious beliefs. And I have learned so much from her in her passing. She comes to me in my dreams, which were never this vivid. And when I need to cry, she holds me and I wake up just bawling. My wife's like, what's going on? Like convulsing. But she knows that I need that. And she comes to me because she knows that her presence is going to allow me the safety to have that experience. She shows up everywhere for me. I'll smell lemon out of anywhere, and it's her. And so in grief, right, I think sometimes as painful as that walk is, it is the thing to wake us up to our gifts, to our knowingness, to our belief systems. And I think sometimes our loved ones know that we need that.
Absolutely.
And in their passing, they know that what they're doing for us on this side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you see the butterflies around my mom's picture, which by the way, my girlfriend says that does not look like my mom, so I'll show you an actual picture of her somewhere.
Okay.
But butterfly and just these like special, beautiful moments in life, she'll show up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I know without a shadow, I know it's her.
Absolutely.
I know it's her, you know? And so if someone is afraid, because I was once afraid, you were once afraid. So it's okay to be afraid of the unknown.
Yeah.
Especially when your mind has been told for years, like this stuff is bad. I'm here to tell you it's the opposite of bad. It is the greatest life cheat code that you can ever imagine to connect with people that have transitioned, your ancestors, your loved ones, your parents, whoever they were here, they are in love in the other side and they want to help you with your life.
Yep.
And they're here to support you and they're here to even help you heal. They're here to help you become the highest version of yourself like no one else on this planet can. My question for you is, how does one open up to that?
For me, it has been through my own practices of being. When I connect to nature, when I pause and just be present. I find in those moments it's allowed me to soften and open my heart, whether I know it or not, right? And it's just a surrender to everything divinely going on around us, right? It was scary, right? It's unknown. So I think to just go and do the thing is really terrifying. But if you just plant a little seed of, I'm open to this, and then take time to be open to it, that's when it comes. And it's not scary.
It's not scary at all.
Yeah.
I remember when she first came through, I cried like a baby because I was like, holy shit, this is my mom.
How can you not?
I know without a shadow of a doubt, this is my mom. Beautiful. And then finally, what are Akashic records?
So the way I like to describe the Akashic records they're known as the Book of Life or the Library of your soul. And if you think of your soul's timeline from inception to finality, and it's every word, thought, deed, action, emotion, intention stored in this like energetic storehouse of information. And within that space, right, there are certain things we're predestined for. There are blips on our timeline in our different human experiences or non-human experiences that we're meant to have an experience or a lesson or clear a karmic contract or soul agreement, right? But there's also free will. Yeah. And so within that space, there's really such an infinite amount of possibilities. Common things people come, right, are purpose, money, abundance, and love. I love it because it's a place to go and just get like that next step. Our guides really meet us there, and they're not going to give us too much to overwhelm. They're going to help us exactly where we're at. And so I've used it as a tool in my business. I've used it as a tool in my relationship, in my own healing journey. And it's my favorite thing to use for my clients because it's meeting you in that moment. And a lot of times we don't know what that moment is, right? We're thinking of the future or stuck over here in the past. And so it can bring us a lot of clarity and insight to where we're at. And then, okay, what's next?
Everyone's like, our good news and bad news. The good news is Awaken is sold out. The bad news is if you didn't get your ticket, my heart is broken that you're not coming. But listen, I've got more good news. I want you to go right now to DannyMorel.com/awaken and sign up to be notified, because we are about to release the dates for the next Awaken. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to be a part of this list. I'm going to give you guys like a one-time offer the very first weekend that we announce it, that you have to take advantage of, and it's going to sell out again based off of all the messages we're getting right now. So go to DannyMorel.com/awaken. And if you're coming, I'll see you there. If not, I'll see you at the next one. So I have my go-to psychic.
Mm-hmm.
I hate using that word psychic, because they're not even psychic. They're like your freaking angel.
Yeah, I totally
Would you agree
resonate with that.
Yeah, it's like, and like psychic has like such a terrible connotation, but like this is like, my God, like if it wasn't for it, I don't know where I'd be.
Right.
Like I feel he was literally like meant to be here in my life journey to help me out in some of my tough moments, How does it differ? How does Akashic Records differ than like a psychic?
So it's not a psychic ability, right? Like it's not a telling of the future. The way I describe it is, like I receive through claircognizance, which is like the knowingness. And so I have been attuned to access this kind of, it's 7th dimensional realm, higher frequency. So I do a lot of work to ground and then raise my vibration into that space. When I guide a client into that space, you use kind of a guided meditation, and it's very interactive. And so I think of it as cloaking the ego and having a one-on-one conversation with someone for them to explore themselves in a new way. It's like a field expander. And sometimes we connect to a past life self that's stuck in a timeline where they lived in lack and scarcity. And we can talk to them and communicate and release that part from that timeline. And so it's not predicting the future or what's to come, but I find that it's very healing and interactive. And my clients have had just massive shifts through it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I'm in for sure. So beautiful. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to take this a whole different route.
Okay. Let's do it.
So you are, I don't like using this word. You are sexually attracted to women versus men, because gay, like that's what society calls it, right?
So I actually don't love labels either.
So that's why, yes. Okay, got it. Right.
I don't identify as that. It's like the word feels uncomfortable coming out of my mouth. Not that it's bad or wrong. It's just not, it's never been my story.
Yeah.
Both. So I'm attracted to both men and women.
You are?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to dig into this.
Yeah.
I want to dig into this because, for so many people, they are also programmed to believe that, first off, let's get this out of the way. There's no such thing as gay. There's no such thing as black, white, Hispanic. There's no such thing as, American, European. There's no such thing as like high income, low income. There's no such thing as Republican, Democrat. These are all labels that cause us all to be separate from the truth of who we really are, which is one.
Yeah.
We're all one.
I believe 1,000% what you just said.
1 bazillion percent. There's not even anything to believe.
No, it's just a noise.
This is the absolute truth, right? It's just that you choose to, which everyone has the free right to choose what they want to choose. And there is nothing wrong with what you desire to choose. You choose to live life in partnership with someone that is the same physical sex as you do.
Yeah.
Right? So for our audience members that are out there that may be, like I once was, being very religious, I once thought that this was bad.
Right.
Right now I know the opposite. Just talk about that. What was that journey like for you with coming to terms and like feeling really good and healthy about it?
Yeah.
And removing the shame that society tries to put around it and like being you for who you are.
Yeah. So because of my religious background, right? And then I went to a private university that was Christian. I had to sign a contract that like you wouldn't be gay, right? Like you don't, like all these very strict things.
Like, how stupid is
I
that?
know. It's a very interesting part of my timeline, I always think. But
I can't wait till you guys wake up from the religion thing. Like, I
yeah.
know you're all on your own journey, but I can't wait. And trust me, you're going to see me one day. You're going to be crying. You're going to be like, I get it.
I know.
I get it. But
it is. Yeah. It was. So I had been with a male partner. I mean, even in my childhood, like I never, you know, some people's stories, like I always knew, or it was just never there for me in that way. I always dated men. I always thought I'd end up with a man. And then I had gone through a breakup and was just in the process of healing. And I think I was like 24 or 25. And I met this woman. And I remember like seeing her and like feeling things. And I'm like, what's going on here? You know, and it was scary. And my sister's like my go-to. And I'm like, so I don't really know what this means. And like, you know, she's always been my number one supporter. And she's like, well, you know, maybe just don't think about it and just trust yourself. And that relationship didn't last very long, but it was a very beautiful experience because what she taught me was in the process of communicating to my friends and family that I was all of a sudden dating a woman. That process for me was very different than most, I would say, because I did have fear, right? Telling my Nana, telling even my dad. And what it taught me was that that was my truth. In that moment, I loved this person, and this person happened to be a woman. And if the people in my field who say they love me and support me can't love me and support me through that, then do they deserve to be in my field?
And do they really love me?
Right. And so it was this pivotal moment for me of I get to choose me, right? And I can stop living my life for everyone else, which is what I had been doing up until that point, right? Even the college, the university, the partnership. It was like all my cousins are getting married, getting degrees, having kids. I was checking all these boxes, and for what? For everyone else but myself. And so that relationship, that first moment with a woman taught me that I can live my life for myself and no one else, as long as I'm not doing harm. And so from that point forward, I always said, you know, I was once in love with a man, once in love with a woman, and I wasn't going to close myself off to being open to whomever that was that I meant to love. And I'm attracted to men and I'm attracted to women, and my partner is too. And that's just something that we both are really aware of.
Okay, so this is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you both are,
Mm-hmm.
but like, and I know especially like here in Austin,
Yeah.
like poly, blah, 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 what is it called?
Yeah. Polyamory.
Polyamory is like a big
Yeah.
thing here. How do you guys, are you guys like in a, how does it,
Yeah.
I'm genuinely like
Yeah.
curious.
I mean, so I'm the first woman she ever dated too, right? Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was a big step for her too. But yeah, no, we're in a committed partnership. We get that question a lot. I think for me, and a big understanding we do have though, is I don't ever want my partner to miss out on an experience in life that she feels like she, you know, is being called to because of me, because that would be limiting to me. We've not got to that point. We've not crossed that bridge. But if at some point she's like, hey, I met this person and I feel like maybe they're part of my timeline, who am I to deny her that?
I mean, how fucking powerful is that?
Yeah. So we have, you know, a lot of communication around that if it comes up. And what I know is my truth in that is that I trust myself, and I trust that I chose a partner that I trust.
Yeah.
And I trust us.
Yeah.
And so if she's telling me that there's this thing that she needs to do or experience, do it.
It's so interesting because we live in a world where like jealousy is such a big thing.
Yeah.
You know? And jealousy is deeply rooted in you not truly understanding love and you truly not understanding yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And for so many couples, relationships, whatever the case may be, it's an insecurity in you. It's an insecurity that exists in you. And so, you know, I just met like who I believe, who I know is the woman of my dreams. Like, I mean, literally
I love that.
everything. I mean, I can't even hold it in my face.
Yeah.
It's literally like, I remember sitting on that couch and she's going to be like this, 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 like this. And it's the kind of woman that like, no one thought I'd ever like be with. Like even he doubted me. He was like, there's no way. You're not going to get her. There's no way, But I was like, I just know.
Yeah.
I just know. And so in that though, there's these moments where I'm walking around with her and she is so not only beautiful, but she has this energy that is so loving and kind, and she just knows who she is. Like many people don't. And whenever an insecurity tries to like pop up, like I'm so proud of myself in the moment that I literally get to say like, she's a free being.
Yeah. That's so beautiful and everything.
I can't control her.
Yeah.
I can't control her.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But I know, just like you, like I know that the moments of spiritual growth that we have had, and you know this as well, I'm feeling this in you, that have been so likened to things that have happened in plant ceremony, literally that powerful, if not more powerful, right? You can never, you can never take that away.
No. Yeah.
So that's where love is born from. That's what I'm learning right now. Right? Because as a man, society is busy programming us that, you want this trophy thing to go along with like the trophy house and the car. And, and I was once that alpha guy. And what she is showing me that it has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. It's all about, what you and your partner experience together and how your heart and your soul open and grow together. And that is a glue that once you allow it to take place, no one can ever take away.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we've walked through so much in a short period of time, and the ability for us, right? Like we're grateful. We're usually not going through something simultaneously. It's like we get to hold space for the other one, but we show up every day, right? It's a choice to show up and love this person. And in that, it's been facing shadows, right? What is this reflecting to me? And the insecurity piece, this isn't our past relationships. This is us. And this was so divinely orchestrated, just even the way that we met and connected. And, we know that we've experienced many lifetimes together, and we've had many moments of knowing that and reconnecting to that. And at the core of it is we both know that our mission and what we came here to do as a union, as a couple, is so much bigger than us.
That's right.
And so in that, we get to continue to grow alongside one another. And part of that might look like being free at some points, right? I'm never going to hold her back. And I know that she's not going to hold me back, because I don't want to wake up at some point and resent this person who I love because I wasn't able to go and do this thing. And so because of the work that we do every single day, we show up in our own practices, and some days are easier than others. But our deeper root of us is the service that we're here to be to others.
I love that. I resonate 100%.
Yeah.
I literally feel as though in my relationship with her, there was something about her energy, her beingness, her journey that like literally unlocks mine, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yeah. I've got to call her out of, she's like Gemini mind. All the things are the mind, right? And get into the heart.
Yeah.
Right? Not live in that anxiety and just be present. And so I've been able to, really crack her open in that and help her navigate some deeper, addiction stories and things like that too. And she has taught me that it's safe. It's safe to be me. Right. And she encouraged, I'm so silly and weird. And she just like lets me be that and loves it. And safety. And, again, the piece of like, of course I would maybe choose a woman because my story has been that women leave me, friendships, mother. And so, yeah, it's just been beautiful. We continue. She teaches me so much every day and calls me forward. And when I'm, not showing up in my truth or my power, she really makes sure that I know that.
Okay, I want us all to go to dinner.
Yes, I would love that.
Seriously, because you're literally like, you're like the female version of me. Like our journeys are so like opposite. So, because it's interesting because as you said that, it's, I show her it's okay to be safe.
Yeah.
To allow yourself to be safe, right? And which allows her to truly tap into her feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And what she shows me is unconditional love.
Mm.
Like I have never felt this much love.
Love that.
I've never experienced this. And in a weird way, it's what I always craved.
Yeah.
And it's what I know. Like I know she's a part of my journey to give me like that final little like that final little like bow or kiss or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
To help our souls and to help our purpose here.
Did you find at first that it was scary to accept that kind of love?
Oh, now I'm getting asked the questions here. This is good. Okay. This is good. Well, I'll tell you what it looked like for me / us. I remember I found her on Instagram.
Mm.
And right away I thought like, I remember thinking like, what in the world is this? Like, it's the most beautiful, nicest, kindest thing I had ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I just felt it from the energy, And fast forward, we were friends. She was in a relationship at the time, but like, in my heart, I was in love with her from day number one. She was in a relationship at the time. I had to just kind of wait it out, which like, I don't wait and I'm not patient for anything. I want everything.
There was medicine in
now.
that.
There was medicine in that and learning patience, right? So 3 years later or so, what happens is, we're talking through text or whatever. I'm helping her through something, and I get my own first psychic abilities with her. Mm-hmm. And I start like telling her this and this and this and this and this and this and this is going on, to the point that she's like, "How did you know about this?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but this has never happened to me before, but I see it very clearly. Like I literally see everything." It got so intense and so deep that we both stopped breathing at one point.
Wow.
And she texts me like, "I literally just realized I haven't breathed for like 2 minutes." And I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Like, I just experienced the same thing. So there were so many synchronicities, but to make a long story short, what happened is she's here and we're here for two things. Number one, she's taller than me. Mm. Number two, she's not Hispanic. So for the typical, prototypical Hispanic male, what is that? Like, no, your woman is shorter than you and she's like in the kitchen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the typical bullshit, right? And so like that was like head to head with some of my deepest insecurities that I didn't even know were there. Mm-hmm. Like in every area of my life, I feel invincible. But in this area, because of my mother wound and because of a lack of love, that's a whole nother story. It was like, wow. And there was so much medicine in that, to be able to accept that this person who you think is everything actually loves you. I know this may sound crazy, some of the hardest shit I've ever had to do. Yeah. Because you think that's what I want. Yeah. But then when it hits you, it's like,
then what?
What else is there? It's like, well, this is uncomfortable. This is weird. It's like, that's when it gets deep. Mm-hmm. So yeah, very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love it.
I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. And the second thing is I feel it from you and your story is, because our energy is so powerful together, Another thing is I'm older. Another thing is I have kids. So that, there was the taller thing, older thing, kids thing, different, race thing.
Yeah.
So it's like us being together is showing the world that like love doesn't care about any of that stuff.
No.
And you can't control it.
You can't.
And as a result, what we are noticing is when we are in front of, other couples or other people or whatever the case may be, our energy is so, and our love is so pure that whatever mask they're living under, it's going to show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to show up. And we feel it. Like we literally feel like, did you just notice that? And we get to, and it just like, we start getting downloads. It's freaking powerful.
I love that.
Yeah, it's powerful.
What a power couple.
Yeah. And I feel like you must feel the same way because like you love each other.
Yeah.
Maybe the world thinks what it thinks.
Right.
Just like us.
Right.
And it's like, but love is love.
Yeah. And, we do women's work together. And what I've witnessed in the same thing, kind of what you're speaking into, is that a lot of women will reflect like, you guys give me hope, not because they see two women in a partnership, because of the love that we share. You give me hope that exists and that I am worthy of receiving that.
Yes. And I feel that the more that we share our true selves, our true heart, the more that it liberates other people.
Absolutely.
To be able to receive their truth. Because we all deep inside, that's what we want.
Yeah.
We want to know and love ourselves. And then we want to know and be seen and loved by somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What came up for you right now?
I don't think anything.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I'm just in deep agreement with that.
Okay, cool.
I've had many DMT experience that say that exact same thing. It's the same always, right? It's
Same
like
always.
love.
Love.
It's the answer.
That's it.
Nothing else.
That's all there is.
Yeah.
That's all there is. Final thoughts.
I just want to say thank you.
I want to give you a hug.
Yeah.
You are wonderful. You are wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you, for what you do. Thank you for hearing me. And I love that reflection of just like we've had very paralleled or similar journeys. And I love that we get to share it. That's why I do what I do. I'm sure it's why you do what you do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I want others to feel liberated and free to live in their authentic truth.
Absolutely. And I feel called to share this is like, when you're out there watching the show, understand like we don't know each other.
No.
No. Like my people call your people, set it up, you show up here to my house, and then magic happens.
Yeah.
But I want you to know, if you're out there listening and watching, is like you have to feel this connection, this energy, this truth, this power, this love. It's gotta be resonating inside of you. I want to show you like that is what is possible inside of you because that is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you are. You've just been wounded in your past and you've created all of these barriers around your heart to not let you experience that. And this is like what I know you're here to do. It's what I'm here to do. It's just to lead you back to you.
Yeah, I always say that. It's like this whole experience is a journey back home.
That's it.
We're not learning something new. We're remembering.
That's right.
Who we are.
Absolutely. Yeah. How do people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Instagram. My handle is akashic_alchemy, and my website is the same thing.
I want to make sure people know how do you akashic is
Akashic,
AKASHIC.
Yeah.
Underscore alchemy.
ALCHEMY.
And your website is?
Same thing, akashic-alchemy.com.
Okay, beautiful. And you got to come to Awaken.
Yeah.
I think you'd love it.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, we just sold out. We have no more seats.
Next time.
No. You're coming now. You're my friend. No, you're coming. Yeah, you're coming.
Okay.
It'll be fun. Awesome.
Amazing.
So I listen, tell your friends about this one because this was beautiful. I hope that you learned. You know what I hope you learned? I hope you learned and got a taste of and you felt in your heart the magic of love, and the magic of truth and the magic of truth of who we are and who you are. And And I hope when you're coming to awaken, and you're gonna notice this, no one's gonna introduce me. I don't want you to clap for me. None of that garbage, because you're not there for me. You're there for you. And there's nothing different between me and you and Morgan, and we're all the same. And so whatever you want to experience in life, you have the opportunity to experience it. You just got to choose. You got to choose to have the courage to surrender your heart and allow yourself to be okay with the unknown. And then there's wonderful people like Morgan who with her gifting will help you get to that. So I can't wait to see you guys at Awaken, and I can't wait to see you guys next week for another episode of The Higher Self. Thanks for watching or listening. If this week's episode resonated with you deeply and you're ready to discover more about yourself, go to DannyMorel.com and check out some of our upcoming events and our resources. Or if you'd like to learn more about our coaching programs, simply shoot us a message on Instagram and one of our team members will reach out to you immediately.